What I'm now going to do in just a couple of minutes is give you my initial findings on live tweeting based on the survey of just one class. I mentioned right now there are 6 classes in this college, and we're the first college in Ireland that I know of trying this out. It is common in many other parts of the world, but it's a pilot project here in IT Tallaght. My initial findings are based on the first year Learning to Learn class in first year Department of Management on the Management Degree and Certificate Programme from September to Christmas. Social media usage, 91% of the respondents used Facebook at least once per day. YouTube was second, Snapchat was third, Instagram was fourth, and Twitter was way down in 5th place before this trial. Many students didn't know what Twitter was or the benefits of it. In fact, many of them didn't realize that they could use Twitter in education. Facebook was number 1 in another question I asked them on their favorite social media. As we'll discuss later when Christina, Dean and I present social media trends, you will see that Facebook numbers are falling, not just in Ireland but internationally. But Facebook is still number 1 here in Ireland. 50% of respondents in the survey of a class of 36 respondents out of 42 in the class, so the majority of the class did respond. Half of them used Twitter daily, some of them only once per week and even less once per month. 3/4 of them did have a Twitter account before the live tweeting trial. When I probed a little further, they said we had an account but we didn't really use it, or indeed know how to use it or what to use it for. 2/3 of the respondents saw Twitter as a beneficial aid in keeping up to date with current affairs, but just over half saw it as a benefit in education, before the trial at least. 87% have never referenced a tweet in a college project. 16% didn't realise they could reference a tweet or indeed any social media, whether it's a blog, YouTube, Facebook, Google+, YouTube, any of them. They didn't realise they could reference them as part of their assignments. In the Department of Management, we have a style guide which we updated just last year with the Harvard Referencing Convention on how you should reference a tweet, how you should reference a status update, a YouTube clip, etc., as they are widely referenced nowadays by our students. As for smartphone usage, almost all in the class used a smartphone. For those who didn't, the price was the key barrier. You're going to see that later again in the social media trends. That's the key reason why those who don't have a smartphone don't use one or don't have one. It's pricing. All smartphone users definitely use social media, with over 2/3 accessing social media via their smartphone on at least a daily basis. When probed further, some say they access it on an hourly basis via their social media. Not just for me, not for live tweeting, but in general they access it. Most respondents were asked to tweet once or twice, most from the iPad, but some from their smartphone. Most accessed through the Institute Wi-Fi, and most had no connection issues. However, some did say there was connection issues, and the biggest criticism of the live tweeting trial from this initial group was lack of a strong Wi-Fi signal, depending on the room we were in. This room has a Wi-Fi router right in the corner, so we have a good enough signal, but some parts of the college where we don't have direct access or direct line of sight to a Wi-Fi router, there's not as strong a signal. And that was an issue and perhaps a barrier to progression in future trials. Maybe we do need to have iPads that are 3G enabled or 4G enabled, so we won't have to rely on a access point. Half tweeted between 6 to 10 times during their allocated slot, which was 40 minutes, and some tweeted even more. And most remembered to use the hashtag. So that was quite high. I wasn't expecting most people to remember to use the hashtag. I should point out there was no marks going for this. This was completely voluntary. But everyone in the class took part, voluntary, because they thought it sounded interesting and there was a buzz around it. Most remembered to use the hashtag. All respondents felt the concept of live tweeting was well explained, and they saw the benefits of it. Most have actually searched for the hashtags during the semester. In fact, over 1/4 searched for it when they missed the class in order to find out what they missed, which was one of my hypotheses. Could this live tweeting be used if you missed a class, rather than calling, emailing, Moodle messaging, or going to the lecturer or one of your classmates the next day and say, what was covered yesterday in the class I missed? You could be lying at home, in bed, watching TV, sick of watching daytime TV, and decide, let's see what's being discussed in class so I don't fall behind. Take up your smartphone, search for the hashtag, and your classmates are keeping you informed live of what's happening. And over a quarter did this when they missed class so they didn't fall behind. 10%, only 10% used it for a revision. It should be noted, however, there was no end of semester exam. So the results from this current semester's trial should be more interesting, and I'm expecting to see a much higher amount of people using live tweeting for revision if they had an end of semester exam. Interestingly, 10% said they used it for the novelty effect. One person said it's the fact that IT Tallaght is moving with the times and creating industry-focused students, giving them the skills they need for industry because they'd be expected to do this in their jobs. And 70% said they were posting to see or accessing to see what the rest of their class were doing. Very briefly, because we're going to pass on in just a couple of minutes to Stephen Howell from Microsoft. I know time is pressing on. Some of the skills that the students felt they developed because of social media. Well, here's all that applied. Almost half said their multitasking skills were developed. Similarly, their listening skills. 80% believed that their summarization skills were developed. At half, 50% said their communication skills were improved because of it. 72% saw a big increase in their social media skills, and 68% on their technology skills. 72% did say, however, they'd be more likely to live tweet if there was a final exam. That's some of the hypotheses I'm testing with the current group of students today.